Sound speed.
Sound speeds. Oh, yeah, we're still setting up.
Oh,
still
God, I
setting
pushed
up.
the wrong button.
It's
Already,
okay.
It's over. This is over. Got it.
We are currently trying to set up the last camera in the Whiskey Brain podcast. And then we will start rolling for your viewing pleasure. But for now, we've got this nice audio message from your host, Brey Brown at Whiskey Brain. Hey, how are you doing? I don't know. Was that a good audition? I feel like that. I feel like that was a good way to.
I'm going to turn this Wi-Fi off so our GoPro lasts longer.
Yes.
All right. GoPro is in motion. Sound is speeding. Cameras speeding.
Cameras are speeding. And
speeding.
Here we go. Well, let me go ahead and say welcome to the very first episode of Whiskey Brain. It's a podcast starring me, Brey, underneath my stairs in a speakeasy I've built to chat with my friends and drink whiskey, or not, or whatever. Dude, I cannot believe this is like literally happening right now. This is the best way to start any podcast that anyone was going to ever do, and it's with this gentleman right here, Mr. Codi Putman, one of my closest dudes here in Dallas.
Howdy, man.
Well,
it's me, Codi with an I. Don't forget that.
What's up, dude?
Dude, thank you so much for inviting me. This is also exciting for me.
Good. Dude, all right, so I had like that whole like opening, like, hi, welcome, I'm Brey, this, that, planned. Like, I can't tell you how many times like I just like rehearsing just like open this podcast. It was so weird. Like I spend so much time like literally like even focusing on like the tiniest little emotions for like, oh, how are you gonna say it like this and that and this and this and say it this way with this and this, you know, it's just like it's so much thought into just like a silly thing to start with. But sorry, I'm already off subject. So first of all, guys, I think we should probably start this with how we met, Codi.
Okay. Man, I know it was 2014, 2015-ish.
I was still in the valley.
I got a call to do a commercial with HEB for tamalada, which is the Mexican tradition of like tamale dinner for Christmas, I believe. And so I got there, and there was like this like fresh-faced, like bright-eyed, like almost doppelgangerish, like looking young PA who I saw at the door after I got totally set up. And I remember I was just like, oh, here's this guy. And I had to get some batteries for my car, and I was like, don't let them roll without me. He was locking up the front door. And I go to my car, I get the batteries, I come back. There's a totally different PA at the door locking it up. She's just like, you can't go in. I was like, damn, what happened to Brey? Because that's the first time I met him and interacted with him
Oh my God,
that
dude.
I recall.
Yeah, I even remember that job. Like, it couldn't have been like, it's probably like the third PA gig I'd ever had on like anything big, and I was helping with Crafty, and I just remember that like I was just constantly hopping from one place to the other. Like you're just like so zoned in when you get into like, you know, just this industry in general. Like whenever I came out of college, I was just like, okay, you know, like, yeah, I know kind of like what to do and this and that, and not quite sure, you know, how it's going to play, but, oh my God, sorry, I'm blanking. Where was I going with this?
About PAing and being on that
Right.
HEB gig?
Okay, so yeah, it was just like, I don't know, I think I was mostly saying like, it was just so fast paced that early in the game, like I just don't know how to like process and like manage and like figure out like, oh, how am I gonna, dude, I'm like losing my brain.
Hey, no worries. No worries. We can take that back to like,
I haven't even drank a sip of whiskey. I'm like,
shit.
already, like,
oh shit.
it's great. It's so funny to like literally watch out like your nerves getting pushed out of you, like trying to say things and get comfortable into like actually talking to like people on a wide platform. It's so weird.
Dude,
like
when
it's
you
like,
said that, I like this like pressure right here left my chest.
Okay, good.
I'm
Thank God.
glad I feel the same way. This is like embarrassing because it hasn't. No one's seen it yet, but I feel like people could be watching somehow.
Okay, I felt the
Is that
same
weird?
fucking thing. Exactly. It's like the moment you press record, it's like you get to transport into that world that this is already on social media and just like
Man, we got the
Hi,
our
future
brains
self.
our brains are just like way too predisposed to that feedback.
yeah, it's
loop
just
where
like
you're
you
like
exactly you're
man, the perception of whether or not what you're doing, you know, will be accepted or will be perceived as
100%.
what you're doing, you know, like
For sure. Yeah, it's like, it's a weird, like, yeah, like you get so awkward up, like whenever you have the cameras rolling, you're talking, like literally we're just talking to ourselves right now, which is crazy. But like when you, it's just so weird that our initial reaction is to just like put up that guard and be like,
Dude,
it's
I mean,
not just friends hanging out.
all
Why,
the
why is
time.
everyone looking at me? Oh God.
all the time when a camera gets put in my face, and I've been riffing all day, just throwing down the lines. People are laughing. They put a camera in my face, and I'm just like,
Dude,
it was words, and then I choke, and I'm like, man, you know, I could have. I thought I had the ability to like leave that behind, drop that like that shroud, like, oh, there's the cameras in my face, like I have to. This is forever, you know. That's like, I guess, part of the anxiety behind it.
For sure, yeah. It's like, which is weird because, you know, when I first started this, I started doing like acting stuff beforehand, and I felt that same way of like whenever I would hop in front of the camera, like I literally like any ideas I had in my head beforehand, I would literally like tense up and like seriously just whoa, that was a cool sound thing. Like literally forget all of the rehearsing that I had done because you're trying to use all of your strength to fight past that one little moment of just like just start doing things, you know. Like it's weird. Like
I couldn't imagine, you know, trying to say a line on cue that wasn't already authorized, you know, and
yeah.
you think, okay, I'm gonna do it, and then it's happened to me. I've been like, and I just stop. Nothing comes out, and
like,
I'm like, oh, I can't even naturally bow out of this. I gotta.
Exactly. You just gotta fucking just like let it happen.
We should slate this.
Oh, that's right. We haven't slated this.
Yeah, or I guess we'll just tail slate it. Maybe.
Yeah, let's tail slate.
Copy that.
The legend of the tail slate.
Actually, bet that, because I'm bringing bet that back.
That's right. You are bringing
people
bet that back.
I'm used to copy, but man, bet that, like that, just incontrovertible. You know, right then. Oh, okay, bet that.
Bet that. You know, bet that, dude.
Same thing with absolute. It's the
dude. I've seen like I love that all of your responses to any text I send are always that. It's just like absolute. It's like all caps. So whenever you send that text, I just see the logo. Like I just see a bottle of vodka.
Oh, I
pop up on my
send
phone.
the bottle of vodka GIF as that too, because I don't even
I got
put
that
the
one
E.
too.
There's no E in absolute, and that's also another one. You're just like, okay, I'm in.
Exactly.
You son of a bitch.
You
I'm in.
son of a bitch. Well, dude, I think there was one thing I was gonna ask you. Oh, okay. So I want to, like, you know, we bump back and forth, and like we have these moments where we like share like kind of cool, you know, little moments into each other's lives. And the one I really wanted to figure out and kind of like understand and experience in a way is just like the first few, I guess maybe first 5 big moments that made you realize you were going to actively start like working in the film industry and start doing this stuff, and that was going to be your life.
Okay, man, that's a great question. First of all, like, and also thank you for having me. No, so, you know, because they always do the thing.
Thank you. Also, yes,
man,
thanks for being
thank
here.
the Hollywood Foreign Press for having us here at the Palladium. We have it all to ourselves.
It's all for us.
But dude, this is like super unique, and I'm super like honored to be the first to do this.
Thank you so much, bud.
And I'm gonna take you back to a time to 2008, and I had just graduated from audio engineering school, and I was like, man, I'm gonna score film. You know, I'm gonna write music for film, because I've been playing guitar, playing a little piano, a lot of bass, a lot of bands, different musics, and I thought, man, I can do these atmospheres. I can make like music for TV. So I was like, I need an internship, because no one's just going to give a dude a job that hasn't composed anything. Got this internship at this place called Agora Entertainment. Shout out to some old people. And so, you know, I go there, and they're like, "You're going to be our sound assistant on our horror film, a movie called The Final. Catch it on Netflix. Actually, I don't know.
This is Codi Plugman.
So
with us.
So I'm there, you know, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna be our sound assistant.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, okay. So like, I have my internship, I have my inside track. I just graduated from this college that said they had job placement. They called me a week later. Hey, there's an internship at this place called Agora Entertainment. I was like, I'm the guy.
There you go.
Like, I'm already the guy.
That's awesome.
And so I get there, we do a music video, and it was like, man, cameras. it was big. It lights. It was like, okay, this is kind of real stuff. This is happening. And I'm around the studio, around all these creative people with like their cameras, and they're at the same age as me. Actually, I'm older than them, older than most.
And how old were you when you first got on? It was, what'd you say?
The
28?
the first time I stepped onto a film set, I was 28 years old.
Fucking, oh man.
And so some people, think they can't start late, and I was like, whatever, and then I did that.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And so, so I get the internship. I go to the movie the first day. It's going to be an overnight. I'm an overachiever, so on an overnight, I'm like, I can stay up all night. Because in a previous life, I used to cut metal in a machine shop with my dad. And we used to make all these machines. We'd procrastinate for a week or two and have to pump out hundreds of parts like on the weekend. And so I'm used to pressure. I'm used to long hours. I'm used to standing on my feet on concrete around machines that can pull my arms and legs off. So when someone tells me, we're going to stay up all night and make a movie.
Sounds good, man.
I rolled down the hill and sprung up. And so I'm there on set. I'm the intern. I'm like cutting open these boxes, like building chairs, like building a base camp. The sound mixer shows up. A dude named Tim Nagel. He's like, are you the guy? I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy. Get in his van. We go down to the set. There's just like lights, cameras, like a red camera, like dudes from the Disney Channel and Degrassi. I'm like, whoa, I know these people. And they're like, you're going to be the sound assistant. You put the mics on the actors. You change the batteries. You run the cables. You watch the rehearsals. You move our stuff. Can you handle that? And I was just like, yeah. Never put a mic on a person in my life. Only knew the fundamentals of audio engineering and like audio science. Barely like had just started to research and really learn like this is what sync sound for picture is. This is what audio means. This is what, all these different terms that they're throwing at me. And luckily, I mean, I'm not a fake it till you make it type of guy. I had my fundamentals down. I just needed to put my hands on this stuff.
Exactly.
So they give me my own little IFB, and I put on my headset. And at the time, I didn't know what that was, and nobody knows what IFB is. But anyway, so they give me the headset, and I hear the boom microphone for the first time, and it was just like, and I felt a vibration in the universe that told me
I literally see it.
I belonged. Like I belong in this whatever this little collective is. It's like it's a living, breathing organism that lives and dies upon the ability to interact with other people's like artistic views.
Yes.
And essentially it's this group hallucination that we are all agreeing upon. And some people, we can manipulate and we can do whatever we want to this group hallucination, and we all agree upon it, and then we capture it. And I was there, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. And that kind of that set me into it. And man, that was like the first big moment that I was like, yes, I can do this. And I was an intern. I wasn't getting paid anything. Yeah.
But it was
like
you had that level of surreal experience where you're just like, wow, this is literally exactly what I want to do. And like in every shape, way, and form.
And then the sound mixer, Tim Nagel, at the end, he actually paid me. He paid me out of his own pocket because I did such a job for him. And people like the AD, people like the director, they were like, there's two of you. How are you in both places at once? And, I just learned from the best and just did exactly what they did the same way. And then so at the end of that film, he was like, hey, do you want to help out in post? And I was like, okay, I'm interested in that. And so I got to go in the studio and record the Foley sounds, and go out in the field and record the, like the actual ambiences and different noises. And that was like another big step because I was like seeing this film, I was seeing this film like come to fruition where I saw it as a script as an intern. I watched it like be shot. I helped like assist the sound department, and then I helped the sound in the Foley and the post. And so I got to see this thing go all the way through, and it got picked up by Lionsgate as one of the horror films for like the After Dark, 8 films to die for.
And this is the first thing that you wrote.
Literally the first film I ever worked on.
Literally the first film you ever worked on.
So
to have that level of experience like wash over you at like that moment in time must have been fucking mind-boggling.
Dude, it was. And I was working with people that do the, really were very like great at the LA system of like filmmaking, like with the way they ran their production, with the way that they like scheduled things. It was super well done. And I just like used those same aspects, as kind of a litmus scale for every production after that, because and that was like really the third big moment. It's when that movie got picked up, and I was like, holy crap! Is this really how it works? And people on that film, moved to LA, and they have been doing great things ever since. And I stayed here. I kept like my nose to the grindstone and kept working with with Tim Nagel and several other people. And man, it just one thing after the other, just one project after the other. And I guess like, I don't know, like I think those would be like the three of the biggest moments that I knew like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be. And that was like, and that was just 2009 at that point. And that
it
was
literally just began. That what you just used, that term you just used, the group hallucination, is something that I like. It's been the best way I can describe what it looks like visually experiencing what I'm experiencing. Like going back to the valley and like going through school for it and like slowly but surely like starting to, just make stuff. It even started like beforehand. Like actually, the first thing I ever did that when we did it, I was just like, this is the best. You get to like visually blow out your creativity into the world in like a rewatchable format. Like it was so fucking insanely like transcendental, ridiculous. Like it was this thing where it's like insanely spiritual, but at the same time there's a part of me that's just going like I don't know. It was in an immediate downplay, like just so I could like balance it out. It's like it's a constant fight of just like, holy shit, this I just worked on this crazy awesome movie with this insane cast multiple times. I also work on these giant commercials all the time. And I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I mean, coming from like literally trying to take $100, and we didn't even have that to make anything, just to like be able to tell a story, just to like see it actually come and manifest into the real world. It was for me, it was like just getting trapped down that wormhole of just like watching that whole thing plan out. It's just like, oh my God, it's just these ideas. Like, why does this one idea stick here, but it never actually gets to manifest into a movie? And like, why does this happen? And now that's a movie. Now that idea's out. Do I need to like follow that and like explore that deeper? Or is it just a matter of like letting it fall out of you and then just letting the next thought come? Did any of that make sense?
All of it, yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Good.
Especially if you're coming from a place where you weren't like exposed to the biggest things at the beginning, and you're making it happen with sheer determination and just the tools at your disposal. And that's even more applaudable than a production that can come out there and be like, oh, we raised all this money.
Yeah.
Like, there's heart in that, and
yeah.
And then, so the next time once we reconnected, so we worked in the valley.
Yes.
On the HEB commercial.
That's correct.
We had a hell of a time on that.
Oh my God. So fast forward, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Right? And like this 4 or 5 years with absolutely zero form of any contact with each other, not even in the slightest. Like there was no way that it could have been connected, however. Right. And I get to Dallas, I'm on my first job, and I get to set at MPS, shout out. So stupid. So I get there, I get to the studio, and then I walk in, like all this huge shit, and just like trying to process it, and then I look over into this corner, and homie is parked on his his walker set up, while he also has a baby crib rig for his audio equipment. It is the most, just 1 second, it is the most unique, insanely like delightful thing to see the moment you walk to work or like working on something where it's just like you're focused on this, like how to make, how's this going to work out? And then like you look over and you see, one of the key people, in charge, sound, just there to make sure that your stuff just sounds the absolute best it's ever going to sound, is there, and he's got his shit in a baby stroller. And it makes me feel it made me feel more comfortable, if that makes any sense. It's just like seeing that level of like expertise and like confidence, saying like, yeah, I can do this in a fucking stroller. Like what, this literally just, I'm doing this because this looks dope. Like I got everything else. This is just for me to like, yeah, dude, like, this ain't no shit. It was so comforting to know that I was working with that level of person where like I would never have to worry about sound, or I'd never have to worry about lighting anymore. I'd never have to worry about camera, because like when we were doing ours down there, it's like nothing. Like you just like, you have to be ready to grab the recorder, be recording what do you call it, actors over here while also pressing record, while slating, while doing this, like being ready to, do full shorts and all that with like a 3-4 person crew max. And then it's just cool, man. And I keep forgetting the rabbit holes that I stray down. Like I start the thought and I start the conversation, or like I'm responding, and like it goes down. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then there's this part where it breaks off, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And then like, oh, what we were actually talking about.
That's probably what the whole Brey's Place experience is.
I think so, dude. I really think that's what it is, man. It's just like
you can, because that's what makes interacting with you such a genuine experience, is because we don't have to be we don't have to remain faithful to whatever topic of the conversation is. And even if it was something we were passionately talking about, we can weave onto the next thing and not
dude,
even doesn't even cross.
It's crazy to me that like we somehow meet constantly, either like some subconscious satellite always draws us to people that can happen with, and it's weird how like it'll just continue to do it, because for me, like coming up here and trying to make new friends, but also trying to like figure myself out, because I'm in case y'all didn't know, insanely young, and I'm trying to process all this awesome stuff that I've been able to experience and people that I've been able to work with, and it's like it's meant to have that. Oh my god,
that job,
I just did it again.
No worries. That job, yielded a lot of great relationships, and I also think that music video won a Clio, like
Fuck
the We
yeah!
Happy Few, yeah. For they won a Clio, so that was, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better like indoctrination into this
Absolutely.
world and this little film community for that.
It was so cool, and also shout out to Mr. Jeff
Mr.
Walker
Jeff
and
Walker.
Miss
Lisa Norman,
because they were the first, again, amongst the first few people, like the first people that I ever worked with in Dallas were those. It was Jeff, Lisa, you, Steven, Rudak, and Chris Gardner.
Yeah, Gardner was
Dude,
there.
and the list just kept going, and it was like this tidal wave of awesome people that like just like literally just wrecked into my life, and I was trying to fucking like, oh my god, okay, yes, this, trying to work with like, oh my god.
Well, you held your own for sure, and what's crazy about that, when you see like a fun show with all your favorite actors, and then this new guy comes along, and you're like, oh, the new guy's not gonna last. Like that's like you're like had your guest star episode on like the best possible season opener.
That warms my heart, man.
Like seriously, man.
I just that was my intention. That was literally my intention. It's just like, okay, you don't know shit. Like having to like wipe the slate clean. That was, for me, that was a big thing, is like, even though I had done so many, shorts and narrative stuff like independently, I knew that the moment leaving that, I had to prove to myself that any thoughts, any ways that I had perceived were the right ways to do things. With that, I had to transfer that to the next level where I actually knew more about equipment, crew, gear, all this stuff. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to just have to fight through that and like literally re-earn it. I want to re-earn that mentality to have.
Well, man, there's no reason for you to feel that way, but I appreciate that humility. But seeing you working on that, and then to a year later working on your short film Thumb, was like seeing a production that should always happen in this town, and it was like beyond. Honestly, it was beyond some of the biggest projects I've worked on, and it was just a personal thing that you were striving to get with with this collective of filmmakers.
Yeah.
And so it was like it was impressive, it was awe-inspiring, a little bit jealous, but in the best way, like in the best ways of like, holy shit, like if this guy can do it like this, like everyone should have to do it like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was that was a big deal, like to see this rise of this guy like come onto the scene, never have to PA on a feature.
Oh, dude.
But wait, no, don't. Oh shit! I let the cat out of the bag. They know now. They're gonna.
Oh no!
No! Seriously.
No!
That's like, yes. I mean, but that's also a testament to how the countenance that it took to step back and say, I want to learn it you guys' way. I want to feel this.
Yeah.
I want to learn I want to make sure that the way I've been doing it is the right way, or at least that you were close in context, and you were way ahead of the curve.
And for me, it was just like,
sorry, my headphone cable is giving me trouble.
There you go.
Bubble.
No, man, it was just, I didn't.
Slut.
Yeah, I didn't want to come into it thinking I knew everything because I mean I didn't. I always try to keep that headspace. I always try to go back to that headspace as often as I can, just because like I'm so easy to let like those things just go down like those crazy like sparks and like wormholes that I want to, and it's important for me to like do that, but also kind of just balance it out again. Make sure like okay, make sure you're grounded. Don't say like yes, stupid. That's a stupid thought. No, why do you like actually having some thought and structure to what I wanted to do, but also trying to take in those bursts of like whatever was popping out of my head. I don't know.
Well, then what was the next thing we worked on together?
That would have been.
It was. I mean, it couldn't have been straight from that to. I guess there was a few commercials.
There was like a few
there.
commercials,
Yeah.
dude. Those ones are like, again, like the funnest little adventures. I feel like I've gotten this entire, like Indiana Jones style logbook of like adventures that like I can just like, oh, that was a cool set experience. That cool set experience. That. I just wish I could access it.
I love being able to reference those types of moments, and it happens on set. And we all do this. We'll be talking about productions. One time on a set, I did this. One time I saw this. Oh yeah, one time we went to this place. And some of the best parts of freelancing is that adventure. That's like, and this kind of leads back to my like my myriad of moments realizing it. And so like that happens every now and again when you find yourself in a place being called to do a job that you enjoy, which is like some people will resent you for it in a way, not like openly, but it's like, damn, like I like my job too, but I don't like it as much as you because you get so much joy out of it. Hold on one second. I think I just sound a little too bassy. There we go. Okay. But
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, dude, you're good. And so, they essentially, where was I? I did the same thing you did. I lost my little tills, and because I looked down, it's like apparently like climbing a ladder. You don't look down.
You just don't.
And
I did want to compliment compliment, but also thank you so much for supplying us with this amazing audio system and camera rig system and all this for the very first episode of Whiskey Brain. If you can't see it, we got a sweet GoPro Spider-Manning up on that deer, and then Cody has the creme de la creme. Creme de la creme of literally. This is. So here, this is, when I was imagining like actually having this podcast, it literally, the first couple episodes, I was thinking, all right, let's see, what do I have? Let's see, I got like my Zoom recorder, boom, I've got my phone, I can probably get like a GoPro or something, and that's fine. I'll do that, and then like find a way to actually, find a way where I can rig like the arms and this and that. And the first episode, Cody, you roll up into this shit with literally the most official setup in the entire world. It's the best. It makes me so happy, and it's so cool that, one, you're willing to just openly offer this stuff and, help me bring myself to the, like, top quality that I'm trying to be. It's nice to, like, be able to say out loud what I actually want to do creatively and this and that, and then to have people like you and Carla and Carissa and, the group of people that we've been doing all these shorts with to like push and like embrace that feeling of like, oh, okay, yeah, I think this is a good idea. And you're like, yeah, that is a fucking good idea. It's like, I'm just not used to having, like, I'm always used to like having to kind of like maneuver my way into that.
Oh,
happening.
man.
And it's so liberating to have friends like you guys where you guys can literally just like, yeah, go for it.
It's definitely our pleasure to like, I when I was leaving, I was telling Carla, I was like, I can't go over there and do this without showing him like, I'm also serious about this. Like it's not just like, oh, you invited me over, that's great. Some people might be like, yeah, I gotta go do this thing, or I'm gonna go do this thing. And I was like, no, I want to do this, and I want to like that to be displayed.
That's awesome.
And another thing, when it comes to that wavelength, like we experienced something yesterday. Like there was a moment, and I opened my big fat mouth and suggested a shot, and I watched around the room. I saw 3 light bulbs go off in 3 people's heads as they all had the same wavelength, that we all realized that what we had to achieve wasn't going to happen with the equipment we had, and we improvised and persevered and adapted and we overcame
without like a second of delay. Like it was literally just a
and there was no transfer of power. There was no aggression.
None.
There was no not a moment of like any just yeah. It was literally like okay. Sorry about that. It was crazy. It was crazy to me. Like me and Carla talked about it all day. We came off it like on cloud nine, just like we did when we shot our short. You know, like we came off it with this this momentum.
I'm still
give
coming
each
off.
other,
Yeah, I'm
you
still
know?
coming off that one too, man. It was just so, dude. Yeah, it's just crazy that
There we go.
comfortability that we had just like from the get go. You know, just like no, like it's. Oh
Sorry.
no, I know what route I was gonna go down. I was gonna say like whenever we do those shorts where like it does vibe like that and there's not even like a moment of anything and you're just naturally letting it like breathe into existence, I've noticed that like the feeling or like that group hallucination that you have, it's like there's a baseline version of it that's happening always where it's just like, you know, average day life, like this and that, and then every once in a while, you know, it'll peak and it'll have those moments, and it's just a matter of like getting to that peak, balancing a little bit, peaking it up, and just keeping like.
Sorry. No, I'm listening. I'm like, oh, dude, absolutely.
I saw that.
You hit this moment of like, you're at your creative best and you're at your professional best, and then you get done and you had this momentum to like propagate that. Like, let's make this happen on the next one. And it's crazy. You took on another project as soon as you did after Applegate. Like that was pretty impressive.
Like, I want to do it constantly, because if I'm not doing it constantly, if I'm not like having some type of input come into me, or like I'm having to like express or like work or be anywhere near set, anytime that's not happening, I'm just like sucked in one place. I can't do it's like trying to so I'm just trying to balance. I want to take the energy and all like the fun, you know, just go get it attitude I have when I work and I'm on set, and like just apply it to the everyday lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I have a like literally a fucking line down the middle of like that person and then that person. You know, it's like, and now I just want it to go.
Well, I think also you know, a thing that's great about the collective of people we work with is that we all make each other better, make each other's projects better, and elevate each other in that way that it's like we're interchangeable. Like you may not know what you want to do with this story or this shot or this lighting setup or even
we're there to figure it out. Like it's literally we're gonna like see it happen.
And the suggestions come from like such a good-hearted place. It's not like someone's trying to take control. It's very pragmatic. It's very much like we are giving and taking like this energy, and it's like it's crazy, everyone's kind of in, you know, like when you're at a rave or people are doing like the lights and they're doing the dance, like we're like passing that little hand dance to each other, like in theory, you know.
It's funny, like whenever I am like I'll be zoned in and I won't be able to like think about like those like funny visualizations like that of like, you know, visual thing, but every once in a while as I'm working, I'm like, you know, grabbing a water, this and that, setting that, or like about to slate, I'll just get this moment where like this will trail off and I'll just see a version of myself like back into that groove, and I'm like, oh, that's a funny little visual little side thing, and then like go directly back into it and just snake my way through.
I thought of something last night on the way home, and it's like this is what speaks to the reasoning why I do what I do the way I do it, is that, you know, you can work on a project for free. And everyone does. And the thing that separates us from them or anyone else is that when people work on projects with us for free, they go home feeling great. They go home not hating the fact that, and saying, I will never do another free job again. Yeah. And it's not about not paying people, because we will and we have. I'm right there with you. But at the time, it's just like, it's this feeling of like everyone is donating their time and services, and it's going to fold over into the next project, which means that we all succeed.
Exactly.
And last night I just had this revelation. I was just like, dude, we all have that momentum about us, and that's the reason I like to do it.
Absolutely. Working with you guys, it made me realize something too, is like, you know, I always had that same mentality of just like, you know, working out that energy, and then like we'll all, you know, be elevated to this next spot. But something I've learned by being able to work with you guys is like, it's that but if we're all going to be elevated at the same spot, each person has to be working the same amount, if not more, at all times than the other person, which is such a cool fucking feeling to have. It's never a feeling of like competition, which blows my mind because like that always is something that just comes in there and just like oh, they're just doing it to try to be better than you. Oh, it's trying to, it's like, no, it's like literally just that core energy that it is to that.
Well, like for example, like I'm making my first short, and then someone else is like, I'm shooting mine next weekend too, and I'm like, dude, like,
Yeah.
let's do this, and
I'm
the
I'm the
idea
fir-
of that
dude,
is
I'm
like
the
there's
first-
enough room
yeah.
for everyone. There's enough room for everyone to succeed on every level, guy, girl, no matter what. Like, and I'm about that. Like, I'm behind the filmmaker that wants to do it. And sometimes I've worked with a lot of people that I've never met. I've really only talked to once or twice, but their passion and the way that they emote their passion and their vision made me get behind them, and then I visualized, I helped their vision, and we saw
Yeah.
each other. That's the way.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that is totally something I've noticed too. Is like the level of experience that I'm having with the individuals in this industry are so much more heightened than I take time to process sometimes because as you're working on all these jobs and these crazy moments beforehand have led you to do this, and now you're working with this actor you never thought you're working with, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but you're just this level where you're like, holy shit, taking it all in. And oh, don't let me lose this. Don't let me lose this. What we're saying?
Titty biscuits.
Damn it!
Talking about room enough for everyone to succeed.
Room enough for everyone to succeed, and it's just a matter of making sure that like it. Oh my God! Hi everyone. Sorry, we can't. Well, for me, example, I can't hold a conversation to save my life. I'm sorry. I promise in future episodes I will try to be.
I didn't have that much sugar today, but I can't remember nothing. But
Always got the sugar rush.
We were going down this rabbit hole of this collective of people that are doing things for each other because we can. Okay.
Yes.
I
Okay.
lost. I like.
No.
I
Right.
lost the
Rabbit hole
backtrack.
of people. Yeah.
There's enough room for everyone to succeed. I know I say that it should not sound like a rehearsed statement, but it's a thing that I genuinely believe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that the thing that I want to do more than anything is not necessarily work on my projects. I want to boost other people's projects, and the passion that people have for their projects has led me to get behind them and to work with them and not for them.
Yeah.
And it's been a very fulfilling experience.
I think that's what I was trying to say is like I'm always trying to be the first one, and like a moment's notice of, especially recently I've been able to hang out and meet like a bunch of friends on set who are also having this like little seed of an idea. It's like I kind of want to do a short. Like I want to push someone to do that at all times, and then like literally let them know at the moment you decide to seriously invest in that, and not just like like maybe we'll get together, shoot this week. I don't know what your schedule like. That's like whenever I can tell it's not going to be one of those, I'm all in. And usually with the level of people I get to work with, I can figure that out pretty quickly. And it's just like, okay, I know that you need to have this made right now. You want to make this. Let's get this out. And then I just want to ride as many of those as possible.
There's a value in someone trusting you and giving you those responsibilities. Because I see you more as a producer than an AD, which you're exceptional at both.
Appreciate it, bud.
And I mean, and don't even get me started on like the creative brain that I can barely keep up with. But not like I mean that like in an effusive way. I mean that
for sure. But just know that
I can barely compete.
Just
with
know that
the
it's
level
me.
you do.
Just know that it's me trying to visualize even like a corner of what your brain is. Like, you have to understand. Like that's where like I'm drawing like the creative energy. Sometimes it's just like.
But
I'll be writing or like trying to write some crazy visual trippy thing, and like I'll just peek into like this little corner of like what I imagine like Codi is like had, and like with all these like deep wormholes that he's gone down. Like I imply that I take that creativity and I apply it to that visual, and it's just like I don't know. It's weird. It's like grabbing like the energies of everyone's awesome thoughts.
That's what boosts everyone, and that's what I love about this is we boost each other. You get on set, you start to make those decisions, and people give you that trust, and they give you that responsibility, and they give you a lot of responsibility, and you get to excel at it. It feels like you did more for them than you could, and you're just like, yes, I fulfilled my destiny on this one.
Dude, I do have to say, I might break the fourth wall a little bit, but I did want to talk about, just because it's such a cool concept, and the entire time this has been happening, I almost feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror.
Hell yes.
I
I'll take that.
Yeah, man. I want to
Sorry, mic
ask, like,
adjustments?
having, this is like the first podcast I've ever done. Just honestly, it's this first time I've ever tried to create an experience where it's literally just me and people that I know and that I've interacted with talk out loud into microphones and like let it, just let it out, just let it into the world and see what happens. How has it felt to you? Has it felt like,
I'm hoping it feels organic. I mean,
yeah,
if people watch, there's gonna be a lot of contextual aspects that they'll be like, I don't know what he's talking about or what project he's alluding to.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
if they want to know, hey, ask me. I'll tell you.
For sure, we got you.
There's no secrets, but so like it's felt very organic to me, and like I'm not trying to present myself, and that's what I hope that the idea is.
No,
I
I
don't
got
feel
you.
like either one of us is.
Well,
putting
for
on
me,
that.
like the initial thought I ever had, like to actually do this, was just the concept of a podcast was so cool to me. Is like it was just like friends, people, literally someone putting like a wiretap on their life, and like
Nice.
getting to tune in, and like I don't think people take the time to realize how interesting that actually is. Like even if you take some time out of your day and just like tune into someone else's world for a minute, just like you could be across the country right now, and literally right here right now there's some experience that has been shared either between one or someone that we know or someone that we actually have interacted with, which is a crazy energy that actually pushes all these people to be involved in your life in this industry anyway.
Absolutely, man. I think the idea that someone could be like listening to this or and somehow gain some some illumination as to how we are, how we do the stuff that we do, because you can work with a person like once or twice and be like, oh man, I haven't seen that guy in 5 years, but it was great working with him, and that's like the mentality that people have like on these kind of sets. We pick right back up that same way.
Yeah.
On every project.
For sure, man. It's just like
So doing something like this feels like an extenuation of that, or an extension, not an extension of that, like an extension of that connection, especially for people that are kind of introverted, that like you hang out with on set, and then you go home and you're just like, man, now it's my me time, it's my wife time. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and you like still want to hang out with people, but you're just like, damn, like the something about it, just like you just don't. And then I've done that for years. I
I'm
just
right there
like
with you,
skip the
bud.
wrap party, skip
right there with you.
the after party thing, and I just go straight home. And I hope people don't think it's antisocial, but it's also like I've given you guys my best on set. I gotta recharge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like the similar thing happens to me, and I always incorporate it with like this two-side thing that I want to have. Is like, yes, this is an awesome experience over here, but I also like this calm section of me. Like, I want to go. I want to work, like do this, push. But when the time is right, I want to literally go over here. For me, like I have to recharge. I have to recharge from all of that energy that's coming in.
And the best friends that I have in this industry understand that like to the nines. They really do. You may make a plan with someone and you're like, sorry, I know we were gonna said we were gonna go do that.
Can I steal one of those?
Oh, dude, for sure. Sorry, I was making noise with these sour
No,
crawlers.
I gotta.
You need some mouth juices to.
Got to.
Now you guys got to hear the
Thank you, sir.
ASMR.
Exactly.
Welcome to ASMR, Brey SMR,
Brey SMR.
where sound speeds and the sour burns.
Smeesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Do not cut that out. Do not cut it. Keep
There's
that
no
shit in there.
way that is getting cut out.
That's the preview
perfect.
for this whole thing.
Dude, I can't wait to cut this thing together and have all these like clips intermingled of just like no context. It's going to be the best promo ever. I can't wait.
Well, I have a second. Let me just capture you.
Oh,
Let me just
thank
capture
you.
Just hanging out. Get my.
Oh, dude. Once you grab this, I gotta say something.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up just a little bit. Still getting used to this bad boy. I'll focus up. Oh, that's not. Wait, where is he?
Where am I? I'm over here. Over there.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild. I'm blowing it. Sorry, no one knows what's happening.
We're grabbing the promos for this, the poster right now, live in the studio. We're in Whiskey Brain. Seriously though, guys, all my future guests, you gotta come down here. It's the coolest little spot. It's literally designed for one-on-one conversation. Me and Mr. Cody right here. Like, yes, it's weird that it's a podcast and we're actually talking out into the real world. But at the same time, it's comfortable. It's kind of like it makes you feel like it's exactly what you need to be saying, exactly what you need to be feeling, exactly what you need to be.
I think I got a few.
Okay. Well, dude, honestly, with like your proficiency in photography has been insane to watch. Like,
Oh
it's
my God,
happened
dude.
so quick.
Thank you so much.
I mean,
Thank
look,
you so
it's just
much.
like how quickly. I think it's just applying back to like what you said earlier of how, like, you know, before you even got onto set, you know, you were in like a very industrial type environment where, you know, you were wired in, ready to go already. I think that energy has traveled from, you know, that, and obviously even before that, but from those, that thing has just like led you into mastering each of these into a point where you're ready to just like, all right, let's see what else I can do. Yeah, I can grab a camera, boom, 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 boom. And then like after that, it's like, well, actually not even after that. Right now at the moment, you are doing it because you are literally directing things now.
Thank you.
We're doing
Thank you so much.
all that stuff together, and we're actually like making shorts again. Like I can't tell you how liberating and how happy it makes me feel to just be making projects and just be telling stories with awesome people again.
Oh, dude.
And knowing that we are all ready to go at any time.
Absolutely. I mean, dude, I'll tell you, like, my camera is like it's like shakabuku, which apparently is a spiritual kick to the head. And I was just in this weird rut of like productions that do not value the sound department as much as they should,
Which
Or
is
don't-
so
maybe they don't
bizarre
understand,
because
maybe,
it's,
you know,
it's 50% of them. Like
51.
If
I think it's actually 51,
if
49.
you don't, if
because
your
you close your
sound
eyes-
is not there, the movie's gonna be shit, man. Like you.
So I found myself in these productions that, and I did those, and
Yeah.
after that I was like, okay, I gotta dig into something that can like kind of expand this creativity again, and it's just giving me a lot of ideas, and it's also, I mean, I've been paying attention. I've just been sitting silently listening to what they do for 10 years,
For sure.
and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can play in that game, and it really is more of like standing on the shoulders of giants, which is like a very great
For sure.
like thing. I work with so many great visualists, so many great DPs, cinematographers, photographers. Like, I'm surrounded by them, so everything they do, I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't want to be better than you. I want to be them. I like want to do what they do, and I'm like inspired by the way that they do it, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try what I can apply to this, and it's not like, and just in that same realm where there's a room enough for everybody. Like, I see them as all as equals, and if for example, especially in the sound department, other people getting work does not bother me. It brings me to the point thinking, oh man, that's great for them. That means there's more opportunities. Let's keep getting that, and so the same thing with this photography. I'm trying to like just work at a level that like even pays homage to the fucking giants that I work with.
Oh, that's okay. Well, that's awesome to hear, and it's obvious. It's reflecting, dude. Like, I've seen so many images that pop up on my Facebook feed or Instagram feed. I'll be looking at them like, oh, it's fucking cool. Initial thought, I'm thinking like, some cool like, indie, but also very well, revered like article picture here and there, and I'll be scrolling up, and it's just you posting a picture, and I'm like, the one most recently is of this little girl that's in that pocket.
Oh my God,
dude, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I was just like, oh, like what's the new Time article, and like I'm like, oh, it's not a Time article, it's not Time magazine, it's literally Cody just fucking popping off shots.
Yeah, I was in McAllen at a fair behind the hotel I was staying at for this for a Samantha Bee gig, the TBS show Full Frontal. Yeah, dropping names, dropping bombs on them.
All the plugs.
But also shout out to Jeff Walker for and Paperlight for the most glorious work relationship and friendships.
That's awesome.
But
love you guys.
But dude, so
I don't know why I keep leaning back.
oh no, I love it.
I
love
keep.
it.
I think the whole
podcast,
podcast, like when I've been trying to say like talk to the audience, I look at this camera and not look at the camera that is directly in front of me.
I haven't looked at that camera once. I've just been looking at you. So all your shots are just me like just staring off into nothing. But so yeah, I was there and I went. I was like, and I have this habit, dude. So my ritual is I shoot till my batteries die. I just shoot till my batteries die. Sometimes it could be 800 pictures. It could be 100 pictures. And
okay.
so
Yeah, I like
I'll
that.
go
I like
out,
the road that
I'll
we're
do
going down
that,
right
you
now.
know, and so I go to this fair, and I'm like, I'm gonna start taking pictures, and I'm snapping them off, and I'm snapping them off. There's a little girl in the ticket taking booth, and she's just peering through. She can't see me, and believe it or not, and this is no bullshit. That picture is straight out of camera. That is what I captured in the moment. No manipulation.
Wow.
I've done a little. Okay, I say no, just a little highlight crunch because of the reflection. But that's straight out of camera, and she didn't notice me, and I was like, just that's the kind of moment that I live for. Is like those moments that you can capture candidly, and you don't capture the gaze of the person that you were capturing. I know it sounds a little voyeuristic, and it is, but it's also like when people pick up their phone or pick up their camera and they take a snap, they're trying to capture the way they felt, and that I will never shame someone for trying to capture the way they're feeling at that moment, even if it is like superfluous, like filming fireworks with your phone. No one's gonna watch that, like. But it's still it still feels it still is capturing that feeling for them, and so that's what it is for me. Is like when I was younger and I got my guitar at like age 15. I was dealing with a lot of shit in my head as a teenager, and I used music as like a catharsis. Like writing a song or playing a song was like a emotional regurgitation for me, and I could get rid of those feelings, and that's what the camera has been doing for me, and that's what sound does for me. Is like being on set, being able to affect these situations and get great audio, and I'm not trying to gas myself up. I know that
No,
it
not at all,
happens,
man.
and when I do that, man, I'm just like, yeah, like that's what I have to offer the collective of people around
I got
me.
you, man. I got you. Oh,
Sorry about the tangent. It's just a thing I'm
dude,
super passionate about. And
I
love that you noticed that picture.
I want to make, so here's what I want to do. I want to get a 12 by 12 of, let's get a 12 by 12 of plywood. Let's paint it all white, and let's start writing every tangent that has happened in this podcast for the pilot. I'm going to have it go all the way down this 12-foot platform, and then I'm going to put it into my apartment and put it right there and literally holify it. It's the best thing in the world.
It's the crawl from Star Wars, but for the Brey's I'm sorry, Whiskey Brain podcast.
Yeah, the Whiskey Brain. It's so crazy. Well, dude, I got to say, I'm so glad that I'm sure all this sounds like nonsense at first because it's a new podcast. And again, you don't know context, You got to do a few more before we start getting into the groove, guys. But it's going to be great.
I don't know. Could be dangerous. And so if you guys don't know what we're referencing, this is Jon Voight's performance in the movie Anaconda, which has been brought to my attention by a good friend of mine named Judd Myers. Shout out to Judd. Homie for life, day one. He not only is he great at what he does, producing, directing, cinematography, whatever photography. He also is a really good actor, so he does the Jon Voight voice fucking perfectly, dude. And so we'll be on a gig, and we have these moments where there's shit going down. We're like we're in the weeds, and he may drop the accent or a version of an accent, and I'm always just trying to keep up with him in his comedy. And you would not expect it because it doesn't seem like he's that type of guy. I don't know. Some people would think, oh, he's not joking.
Oh,
and
that's awesome to hear. That's
dude,
so cool.
The Anaconda thing, it's like it's out of control. And he brought it to our attention and showed us this YouTube compilation. And you guys owe it to yourselves to check it out. And just the pontification that we've had, like the group of friends that while experiencing this revelation, we're just talking about like he's on set and someone didn't tell him, and he didn't get the memo.
It's like
they're just stealing shots of him. He's like the scene where he's leering at Jennifer Lopez and he's just staring. He didn't even know they were rolling. They were just 50-50 in that shit and like just getting them.
I bet you anything, but any of y'all who are gonna watch this are gonna know exactly what the fuck we're talking.
Literally, if you type in Jon Voight and then space A on YouTube, like just the words Jon Voight and then space, you will literally get Jon Voight Anaconda in like the first 8 or 9 results.
So with that, the one thing that's been cracking me up when you brought it up and when you were doing the voice, it was making me laugh because the way I had heard about it was I was watching this video of this accent professional talking about the different movie accents, and Jon Voight's and Anaconda popped up, and it was supposed to be from like Paraguay or some shit.
Paraguay.
That's
hard to say.
And the accent professional, he watches the clip, and like it was like he watches the clip. Jon Voight appears on screen. Dangerous. He looks at the camera and goes, what the fuck was that? Like there was that, and there was nothing even after that. That was the cut.
Oh
It was
my
just like that's
God.
all the explanation you needed to know that is not the accent of that country.
I'm showing me and my wife were watching it while driving home last night. Like
Oh,
I put
that's
it
awesome.
on my phone on the dash,
Yeah.
in the little holder, and hit play, and we watched it, and the sync was all off, so it made it even funnier. That it was like, oh man, and they kept replaying the same it could be dangerous like part. Really hard. Oh man, and like oh dude.
Kobe. Oh, that was something we were doing before this podcast started with some sweet
man.
beatbox testing. Oh my god. Well, Cody, I think I'm gonna wrap it up with that.
So as a sign off, maybe we could talk about the hopes for the future in the way that
You're damn right we should. I'm so sorry I tried to cut this
No,
thing so
don't.
short.
I just wanted to
My
say
bad.
that my hope for the future is that we just keep on grinding and just keep getting this.
That's
like,
all I
this
want.
momentum, dude.
All I want right now is just to maintain this energy that we've been having going into just now and just doing Rachel's short, which is so hilarious.
It's
So
gonna,
great.
it's gonna be good.
We're,
You
we're-
guys,
Rachel,
seriously,
you're
you
not
gotta see
alone.
it.
You're not alone. We're still riding that high too. So
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's
and
so cool.
and we can just. This is
Low
another.
battery, bud.
This is another momentum
Yeah.
situation. Oh come on! No, don't you do me like
There we go.
that.
We're good.
It's only 56
No.
minutes.
But
But
continue,
dude,
I'm sorry.
this and I think this podcast is a great harbinger of that momentum. In that way, like I hope that we get to see a couple of cinematographers, maybe some actors on here.
Dude, I can't wait. Yeah,
and
and
just
that's
have
the
them out
main
and
thing,
talk
guys. I'm
about it.
holding y'all to this. Like this environment's too great to not just sit down here and have
And
an awesome
also,
conversation.
can I just say a quick thank you to everyone who worked on my short film Applegate? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to plug it. I'm just merely giving credit where credit is due because many people came out, and I will thank everyone by name, but I don't have time here to do that. But so be on the lookout for that Applegate episode too, because I think we'll probably have to do that once it's.
It's
said and
good,
done.
dude. Yep. I can't wait to see it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in for the first episode of Whiskey Brain. We're out.
Sound speeds. I'm rolling.
Ah, there it is.